Here's a story about something that happened to me recently on the great screening circuit. It was 6 o'clock, 6:30 on a weekday night, and there was a screening that I was told to go and see at a group of screening rooms. We got 3 screens together. And I went along to see this movie, which I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I was going along to see it because I had to get it out of the way. And when I got to the screening rooms, it turned out that showing in the screen next to the one I was meant to be going to was a movie called Sarah's Key. All I knew about Sarah's Key was that it starred Kristin Scott Thomas. And on the basis of that alone, I bailed out of the screening I should have been going to and went and saw Sarah's Key. Why? Because as far as I'm concerned, any movie with Kristin Scott Thomas in is always worth seeing as soon as possible. Now, turns out Sarah's Key is a very interesting and controversial and compelling drama. It addresses a very difficult subject, the subject of collaboration between the Germans and the French in World War II.
On the 16th and 17th of July 42, they arrested 13,000 Jews. Put them in the Velodrome d'Hiver in inhuman conditions.
No beds, no toilets, barely any water, and not one image exists.
Weird. I mean, they documented everything, the Nazis. That's what they were known for.
Mike, this was not the Germans, it was the French.
And it looks back over relatively recent history and uncovers some fairly raw wounds. But at the centre of it, for me, is yet another outstanding performance by Kristin Scott Thomas. I think the film is interesting but not perfect. There are certain structural flaws, yet it all hangs together because of her central role. I recently gave Kristin Scott Thomas the Kermode Award for Best Actress for her role in Partir, Leaving, in which she gives yet another note-perfect performance in the French language. She's bilingual, she may even be trilingual, I think. And it was a terrific movie that looked at a middle-class, middle-aged woman who has all the sort of the safety of a married home life, but is deeply unhappy and is very oppressed by a relationship with her husband, who suddenly decides to abandon it. She falls under what Kristin Scott Thomas referred to as almost a teenage infatuation and pretty much runs off with the handyman. And it's a wonderful performance. It has at its centre a portrait of somebody who essentially has a slightly cracked psyche but decides to escape from the confines of normal life. And one of the things that Kristin Scott Thomas said she really liked about it was that it wasn't a role that fulfilled all the usual rules of a role for an actress of that age. She said that if you go to Hollywood, for example, there are certain constrictions about what you can do if you're a certain age, and those constrictions have never seemed to bother Kristin Scott Thomas. In fact, she's one of those people who has worked equally well across all the ages and in several different languages. Many people know her best from her comedic role in Four Weddings and a Funeral. I think of her most recently in I've Loved You So Long, a wonderful psychodrama, again another French language piece. She seems to me to be somebody who does not obey any of the constrictions of modern cinema. That's why I bailed out of the screening I should have seen and went to see Sarah's Key. That's why I knew, even before I went to the film, it was better for me to see Sarah's Key because there would be something in there that would grip me, that would hold my attention, something remarkable, something surprising, regardless of the surrounding drama. Now, don't get me wrong, Sarah's Key is a good, solid, interesting film that deals with a very brave subject, but at the heart of it is an actress who, every time she's in a film, brings something special to the role.
I think you should know the whole story.
Why are you doing this?
Because it's right.